Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the European Racing Series Grand Prix here in Azerbaijan. I'm Ben Ragger McConnell, and joining me on the caster desk is the one and only Jamie M. Caster Elder. How are you doing?
I'm not too shabby, man. Yourself?
I am not too shabby indeed. It's Baku. I actually really like this track quite a lot. I know it's not the most favored track, especially for the drivers, because it's actually really quite a tough track. But from my perspective and from a commentator's perspective, it's just non-stop action, especially with the fact that you've got two really long DRS straights, one being the longest straight on the calendar, I believe, alongside China. Um,
It's
and
quite
I'm
long.
really excited for it.
Yeah, it's quite long. One day I'll work out which has got the longest straight. I'm sure someone else already has done that work for me. But it's so important, that long straight. And the quite important part, actually, could be the final lap of the race. In the fact that there's so much of the DRS is actually before the start-finish straight. So you could, theoretically, make a pass on the final lap on that straight and then cross the line just ahead of your opponent. And that could be really quite important. As I say, there's two DRS zones on here. We'll point them out. Detection points once we get onto a fly lap. It's looking quite busy already. It's not a lot of people are staying in the garage. It's nice blue skies, so there's no threat of rain. But yeah, it appears that everyone is already going.
Yep, and I'm just looking at the tyre strategies already. I mean, I was expecting more drivers to go out on the hards initially, just purely because the hards obviously are not really going to be used at all for the qualifying session, other than just to chuck some banker laps in. I'm seeing a few people go out on the softs as well, like Fragioko, Duxid B, Vexation, and a returning old member of Julian. So it's odd to see them go out on the softs. I imagine that they're going to be trying to do lap times on the mediums, because realistically the one-stop strategy is absolutely alpha here. The softs are fast, don't get me wrong, and if you do go for a soft qualifying, you can almost guarantee you're going to be sat very high up there, if not on the pole step. But you know, it doesn't really bode well for the race. You're going to disintegrate those tyres, and that's not what we want to see.
I've just seen a bit of debris at Castle. I'm not sure who it was. I'm currently on board with Fragioko, and Dan is in front of him. Yonti's in front of that. I'm just seeing who's lost a bit of front wing, and it is Dan. Dan Van Den. DRC Dan. That's the actual Dan. Dan V. Dan V. He's lost that front end plate, and that is going to be his first qualifying go out already. He's going to bring this one straight into the pits, because you need that front wing.
You do
and
indeed.
see struggles
this
around
track.
there.
This track does not let you get away with having a bit of wing damage. So Dan will probably end up coming back into the pits, resetting his car again, and then off we go. Vexation is the first one out on the track to do a hot lap, again on the soft compound tyre as well, so it's good to see. But I haven't asked you yet, and I'm going to ask you now. What's your top 3 prediction for the end of qualifying?
Well, as you just mentioned, I think it's going to come down to the choice of tyres. You've got, Vexation not with the back end in the right place. He's slid around turn 3 there. I think it's going to come down to those soft runners. Are they going to go as Vexation has actually backed out of his lap after his slide? It is going to come down to who's going to start on softs and who's going to go for a medium strategy. Not entirely sure which is the ideal one myself. You've raced there. What would you say the ideal strategy is?
Absolutely mediums.
Mediums, hards.
Mediums to hards. Absolutely the alpha strategy. There will definitely be people that go on the softs. So let's look at it from a medium compound tire situation. So let's just take it as those that go on the... Who do you think will go onto the mediums, and then who do you think is going to be in the top 3 as a result of that?
Well, top 3 medium drivers. Again, there's such a different collection here, and that's what's going to confuse things. I think we could see a few unexpected surprises. If Julian actually finishes lap on the softs and actually goes for it, then he's the man that can quite easily put this one out the front. If no one else goes for softs out of the fast runners, there's a bit more wing there flying in front of him, and that was off Beaker's car, I believe, actually. I think it definitely was off Beaker's car. It was definitely moving just after he hit the wall. But again, you look at any one of these drivers can be pole if they pick the right tyre at the right time. But you're after an actual number, and I'm stalling for time here. I think... Let's see what Julian does first. Julian's going to be pole. Followed by Well, definitely got the pace. And if he
Yeah.
keeps the softs going, I think he'll stay. He didn't look to be a bit sandbaggy at all. I'm going
we
for
lost one.
sector 2. That's the technical section, really, when you think about it.
Oh, it's Castle. I'm on board with Brownie now as he comes up towards Castle. Yep, there he is, buried in the wall on the left-hand side.
Oh,
Didn't
dear.
do a Leclerc or a Kubica, but still a very broken racing point car on the left. So
Oh,
a
has it?
rough qualifying for Bowman Guy. He's going to need to improve. Let's have a look at Hazard. Yeah, he's had an issue as
He
well.
just missed
Lost the
turn 2.
control.
Yeah,
I mean, that corner will catch a lot of drivers out, especially when he comes too wide going into that corner. It's just so difficult to get right. We saw earlier on this year in the official F1 calendar, we saw Danny Ricciardo and Kvyat having a big issue there in turn 2. Obviously, we saw that Danny Ricciardo decided to just reverse into Kvyat afterwards and mount his car completely, but we are hopefully not going to see that here today.
Was that turn 2? I thought that was turn 3.
Well, where Hazard lost it?
Yeah, well, Hazard lost it at turn 2, the Ricardo incident. Didn't think that was turn 2.
Dan van der Ven having an issue. He's lost it at turn 3.
Okay, so back to predictions. Julian followed by... Let's say Yonti's going to make the jump. And then third will go to Brogan, because he's going to go for the softs.
Okay. I'm kind of with you for a few of them. I think Yonti is going to be seriously fast here. He's already done a 140.009 on the hards, which is 4/10 faster than anyone else on the hards so far. Haskari was someone else I was looking at, because I think Haskari is a quick driver, don't get me wrong, but I don't know, I'm yet to see something blisteringly quick from Haskari, something to seriously impress me, whereas Yonti, yes, his qualifying has left a little bit more to be desired, but his race pace has actually been something to shout about. So, I'm going to put him in the top 3. I'm going to put him third.
Who's that,
From
sorry?
the second, Yonti, sorry.
Yonti third.
Yeah, Yonti third. Second
Okay.
place, I'm actually going to go Fragioco. Fragioco has actually been pretty fast in the last few races. This is a very different Fragioco compared to last season. He's actually really got some pace to him, and I want to see more of that. Hopefully he can translate that towards the end of this qualifying session, so I'm going to put Fragioco P2, but I do think, despite my immediate reservations earlier, I do think you're right. I think Julian will take pole today.
Yeah, especially it is going to be coming right down to the tyres. There's no other way about it. If you run softs, you're not going to be ideally set up for the race, but at the same time, you're going to get a good qualifying, and then you can, as long as you get the lead, as the Ferrari boys doing a bit of towing down the second DRS straight.
We lost another.
Sector 2 once again. I'm on board with Dan van Den. Dan.
Well,
Ferrari Dan.
Overspeed is about to do a hot lap. Would you like to take it away for a lap rundown?
I can. I just want to see where Dan's going. Well, obviously, there we go, crossing the start-finish line, and then going to throw it into turn 1, just off the apex, which isn't too bad. It's quite a high corner on the inside there. A little squirt down towards turn 2, second of the DRS straights, or first one really. Detection point for that is just before turn 2, and this is the long middle straight. Get that DRS wide open, and then pick your braking point perfectly just before the 100 meter marker. Throw it in. Don't take too much curb on the inside of these, because they can just bounce you across if you've not got the car set up perfectly. And look at that, he's just right on the limit there. He goes through turn 4, now into turn 5 and 6. This sort of chicane style. Again, it's keeping off those curbs on those corners. This is the one where you can cut it, turn 7. This one's really flat, this curb, and it's so easy just to drive right over like that. And then we come into the castle section, turns 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. So few mini corners in such a short space of time. He's executed that perfectly. Out of turn 12 he goes, and then through what I've nicknamed Baby Ping Pong. A little kiss to the wall there. Hopefully it's not going to cost him too much. Baby Ping Pong, because if you've got a bit of damage, it's quite tricky to get this one right. Hard braking into 15, and down a hill you go, down towards turn 16, trying to avoid Sebastian Vettel from hitting you behind the safety car while you go that way. And then you come out there. Then you've got only a few corners left. Through 17, a little kink. Then into what you call ping pong, which is 18. And then 19, don't take too much curbs. And he didn't, again, beautifully executed. Turn 20, a little kink. DRS sticking point is just before the apex of that corner. DRS will be wide open now as he's straight on down towards the line, and let's see what he does. So 39.39.
Which is not bad. I mean, you could see a few issues on that lap of where he needs to improve. Like turn 6, he downshifted to gear 1, which is just a little bit excessive. He slowed himself way too much there. The engine braking really didn't help him. And also going into Castle, you could see he just had a real lack of confidence in his abilities. He was so afraid to just put it into the wall. I think that's ultimately where people are going to gain the most time in the race, is when you see a lot of drivers really struggling for confidence on this track. And it is a track that if you have no confidence, it will kill you. It won't take any soft prisoners. It will just execute you immediately. So he needs to find a little bit of confidence in the car somehow, somewhere. And here comes Fragielka, about to cross the line to do another hot lap. He's actually got a tow going on here from Vexation. Vexation didn't mean to give him.
He's got his teammate just in front of him as well. That's where you're going to get another tow from. They've obviously been swapping tows. Fragielka, he might. Oh, he's on a flying lap, so I was going to say, you can't do another one after this, you've got no fuel left.
Nope.
But this track is basically Monaco on steroids. It bites back just as hard, but it's a little bit bigger, so you've got a little bit more space to get past the other drivers. Fragielka put it 6th on his hards, 2nd place of the hard runners so far, just behind Haskari. And Vexation is his current pole sister though. He's got a little bit of lead going over Julian right now. I wonder if he can continue that.
So Julian's actually gone into the pits and put on some medium compound tyres. So it's looking like he's actually going to try that strategy, which is interesting because he was fast on the soft compound tyre. He did a good, really hard lap time to do on the softs. He's now going to try and beat that on the mediums, which tells me one of two things. Either he's very overconfident, which I don't think it is, or he backed off on his hot lap, knowing that he can go faster when he gets on the mediums, just to try and help him out a little bit more, and he's got some insane pace, which would back up our claims earlier that he could take a pole position, but I don't know. The one thing I always say about Julian is he's actually kind of the inverse of Hazard, right? In qualifying, he's quick. In the race, he can be quick, but he makes a lot of mistakes, a lot of penalties, and also DNFs quite regularly. We haven't seen him yet so far in ERS, so it's hard to really pin it down on him. I mean, obviously you commentate on another league that he's in. Do you have any more sort of information as to how he's performing this season, this game?
I've only commented on one of those races so far. I missed last Friday. So I don't have a lot of use for you, unfortunately. But yeah, we saw in 2018, the way he did a qualifying lap, he would go out for 3 soft runs or whatever, or 3 medium runs, and the only thing he would change is the engine. The things that we can't see from sat here. He may obviously drive a little bit harder, a little bit softer, as there he is parked on the apex, keeping out of the way. He's on an outlap, so it's fine. But he would drive deliberately slow. He could do 3 soft laps and just change how he drives each time ever so slightly. Just sandbag it, and he does a good job. Beaker's returning sector 3. Is that ping pong?
Oh no, he's in the pit lane. Oh, I've just seen him. So
As he
Dan
left the
has
pit
crossed
lane
the
entry.
line and takes pole position with a 138.379, which is 3/10 faster than P2, which is Vexation. But yeah, Beaker, it looked like he just tried to get himself into the pits a little bit too quick, and unfortunately that guy is just not having any luck so far in this season. He really needs to try and figure his way out. But there he is now. P10 is the best he's going to be, and realistically, when you've got 3 drivers below you that have the opportunity to go out and improve their times, realistically, you're going to fall quite considerably far down. But that does play into his hand, as he's not a stranger to being in those sorts of situations, and you've said it on many occasions. He will very easily change his strategy up a little bit, go from hards and really push him all the way, and then eventually go into the softs potentially.
Yeah, I can see him starting on hards from that position and just going as long as possible. But with Baku, again, like Monaco, it bites. You make a little mistake, you lose a front wing. You make a mistake going into the pit lane, as Beaker has done in so many other races, just going in a little bit too quick, and you got a 5-second penalty. But is that going to be the best strategy? Is this the best strategy, going for hards, knowing you're starting in the back? And all it's going to take is one mistake from you or one mistake from someone else, and you've got front wing damage on hard tyres, which is the worst thing you want in the world. if you're going to get front wing damage, have it on the softs on the like second lap, so you can come in and change. Julian is flying on his medium tyres. I'm just keeping an eye on him, see if he's going to come up to the line. But I think Beaker, by the looks of this, could be starting third from last after the two DNFers will be the bottom two. As Julian does improve, but only just.
Yeah, I mean, he's good. He's still a 138.697 on medium tyres, which is brilliant, especially considering Vexation's right ahead of him, and he's done on softs.
He's happy
with
that,
He had no time, that's the thing. He ran out of fuel. He left himself no other alternative other than to go when he did. We are now past the calm before the storm, so everybody is starting to come out now. This is really the point where everyone's going to be properly committing. So Jurislav, who's out there at the minute, he's currently trying to chuck in a hot lap, and he has enough fuel to go again. Vexation has retired from the session, so he's going to stay P2 at best with a 138.640. There is one other driver on the track who's also running the softs and currently out on track. Never mind, that's two now, as Duxie B's just come out as well. So that's two soft runners. But we're looking further downfield. You got like Yonti and Brownie, they're out in the mediums. You got Hazard, who occasionally can trick in some incredible lap times, and then you got Dan Vanderven, who's also out on the mediums. Not yet seen anything great from him so far in the qualifying, but obviously everything before now means nothing until this moment here, if you can deliver.
Yeah, this is the important part now. We'll see how they're going to get on. So I'm just trying to find my messages from Fresh Over, see if you just sent me anything important.
Well, I actually have some news for you whilst you're doing that.
Light cloud all weekend. That's my news. Done.
Good.
Your go.
Good. Beaker collided with Yonti in the pit lane, which is what caused him to retire.
Beaker collided with Yonti, or Yonti collided with Beaker?
The words were, he ran into Yonti in the pit lane.
So he was going too fast, or Yonti was going... We can't blame Yonti for going too slow coming into a pit lane, can you? You're coming to a stop at, what, a 50-mile-an-hour stop, aren't you? So Beaker might have just carried a little bit too much speed. Oh! Jury's lab.
We saw the exact same thing I did. Yeah, that end plate is gone. He's going to be really struggling now through ping and pong. So, I mean, he can still improve, but he's lost a lot of time through there. I want to see his end of Sector 2 time. Should be coming up around about now. Or is it?
It's bottom of the hill. Just before you get to turn 16, which is here. And there you go, he's still up.
He's still up.
But
so it's not,
these are the hardest corners on the track with no front wing. He's going to lift off. Which is going to...
They held it. But he'll actually be faster now because he's got less wing to drag him down. He'll actually be able to just bullet through this and just tear it on down. It's not looking much faster. He's going to get a 139. He is not. And it's slightly slower. So the good news is that his best time is on some mediums that were 0 lap times.
Doesn't matter.
The bad news
is outside the top 10.
The same set that he's just done it on.
Well, yeah, it's outside the top 10 anyway, so it's irrelevant. Good news for Beaker then, as he's not going to jump him. Hazard does, and up to P5 for him. Let's have a look. And Fragioka up to P5 instead of Hazard. Good result from him. Just on board with Duxie B. Coming towards Castle on his soft. Little wobble from him. He doesn't hit the wall. I love how close these guys get. I'm so scared when I come to Castle. So right, take it dead straight. Do not move. Right, slight move. It's so nerve-wracking going through there.
It is. And the other thing to think about is the margin of error is so finite. Like, honestly, you can't run the risk of making it even just a few seconds later, a few tenths later. If you make it just slightly later, you will easily put yourself in the wall. Or you do it a little bit earlier, you can easily end up like Kubica or Leclerc. So, anyway, here is Duxie B on the soft compound tyre. Is currently on a tear right now and is looking to put it on the top spot. Is he going to be faster than Dan? It's looking good, I'll give him that. He might actually be able to make it into a very low 138. It's going to be a 138 and he goes P2 with a 138.560. Overspeed is across the line as well. He goes P5. So really good lap time from him with a 138.880. And realistically, the only driver is Haskari who can really change anything. And he is going to jump up a couple of places, separate the Alphas. And he's now P6. Or is Fragioka Ferrari? It's hard to tell when he's in that.
Fragioka's retired from the session anyway, so...
But I can't work... Oh, he's in Ferrari, it says in the top right.
Yes.
Never mind.
He's always in Ferrari. He is the pizza de pasta. He is Italian, born and bred. Or bruschetta. Born in bruschetta. And Dan goes faster, but invalidated. He broke into the 37s. That's how quick he was going.
So he's definitely someone to keep an eye on then when we come into
Yeah.
the race. If he can deliver pace like that, especially on the softs, the benefit he's got is, right, he's P1, which is the best place to be in Baku, because you're going to be able to run into turn 1 and very quickly get away, right? As long as you can avoid any contact on turn 1, you should be able to just bullet away, and we've lost him. We have lost Dan from the session. I think he's very quickly just left so he could sort something out, it sounds. I mean, it was a very sudden leave. As soon as that's happened, he's going to need an invite. But here we are with the rundown. So Dan, who's just left, has taken pole position, albeit by just under 2/10, whereas Duxie B is right there behind him in P2. Vexation takes 3rd with Julian in 4th. Overspeed takes 5th with Huskari in 6th. Fragioco 7th, Hazard 8th, Brownie 9th. Dan Van de Ven is in 10th place. And then best of the rest is Yonti in 11th. And we saw a DNF for Beaker, so he didn't really get to improve any more than his 140.3. And Jurislav there 13th. And we've still got tons of battling to have. The Haas are really going to have to do work today if they want to get themselves back up there and into the top spot. Now, something to note is Dan has not made it back in.
No, that's quite interesting. I'm not sure why. Why did he leave? I've not heard anything about a rehost, so I don't think that's going to happen. I've got their Discord open on my other screen. I can't see any mention of a rehost at this point in time. The only thing from Dan is just rip. But he could have been talking.
Game crash then, surely.
Oh, I don't know. He could have been talking about that, or just talking about what the other people talking about in the chat. But that's not good news from Dan, and well, it just means there's going to be one free space at the front.
Yeah, and so what was P2 is now going to be P1 as we come towards it, and that's ultimately going to be a big deal. Looking at Duxie B there in P2, and didn't see any sign of Dan's car. He's rejoined.
He's back. It's too late.
But his car is not there.
Don't think he's going to get it. Don't think he's going to get back in and have a chance. He'll probably be pleading with the admins, please restart the lobby. But yeah, it's going to take a lot of work for them to sort it all out, and I'll be surprised if they do. But
yeah, I mean,
it's a real shame.
It is a real shame, especially when he was chucking down pace like that. It had been so good to see what he could bring to the table. He's left the session. I think he realizes now that is going to be it for him. His car is in the session. It is in the pits. I don't think he could still make it though.
No,
I don't think
he
he will
says
allow him
me
in.
Now in Discord as well, so I don't think he's coming back in. Well, that's one of your predictions, possibly for a front row finish or podium finish. Who are your other three then? Yeah, get under that bus.
Right. I actually have a lot of faith in Overspeed, although he's really put himself in a predicament because he's on the soft compound tyres. He's got two choices really, because he only did one lap on those softs in the qualifying, right? Which is good. That's the ideal situation you want to be in if you're going to do a soft lap. But this track is so difficult on hard compound tyres because it's so slippy. I mean, luckily when he does switch to the hards, the track will be a lot warmer than before. But I think the ultimate thing he needs to think about is the timing of when he changes off the softs. The softs are very much like a light switch. If you push them too far, it'll just turn off immediately and you will have no grip. So with that in mind, I'm going to put him P3. P2 is going to go at Hazard. P1 I'm going to go with Yonti.
So, throw that again quickly.
So, Yonti P1, Hazard P2, Overspeed P3.
Okay, I'm going Julian P1, Yonti P2, and Pizza de Pasta coming home P3.
You're not putting Hazard in the top 3 at all?
Nope.
Okay, well, I mean...
And you're about to see why. I predicted...
That's a call and a half. Let's get that clear.
I predicted 2 DNFs and 3 pit stops from the first lap earlier today. I'm sticking with that prediction.
Well,
Let's see how it
here we
looks.
go. We did lose Dan originally from the get-go, so he's unfortunately, yes, he qualified, but he won't be here in the race. But we do have 17 remaining drivers, and the lights are out, and we're underway with the Baku Grand Prix. Immediately, we're seeing Duxby getting off to a very nice start there. We're seeing a lot of mistakes happening further down the field. As you can see, it's all going good for Overspeed. He's managed to get up a position. He's now up into P4. This is good stuff, and he's actually jumped out Julian as well. Overspeed is flying right now, and he's really committed to trying to get good stuff out of these soft compound tyres. And how's everything going further downfield? It looks tidy enough.
Yeah, unless you're one of the drivers. I don't know who one of the drivers is. Oh, there's a bit of desync going on there. I think Julian Overspeed might be desynced. Yeah, that looks like desynced to me.
Yeah,
Julian D. So that's interesting. I did see a bit of front wing go flying. I'm not sure whose it was. I will try and find out. But it's definitely someone in just outside or around the top 10. But based on the fact that Beaker's dropping back, it might be him. Mariner maybe had an absolute terrible start. Just failed to get away. It might be tactical. It might be a mistake.
Beaker. It is Beaker. That right end player is gone.
Again, he lost one in the qualifying.
Oh, big crash in there. Oh, that's 2 cars gone. That's Yolanda Bahamas, who has DNF from the session. That's Marinello maybe just trying to make his way through with no issues. Boneless Cigar has ran off into the runoff area. I don't know if there was contact between him and Yolanda Bahamas, but he is very much in the runoff area and not loving life. I mean, he's trying to turn around. He's managed to do it, but he has damaged his wing even more. He could have done, but he's damaged even more.
Surprised to see no safety car or even a virtual as a result. But what's done is done. 1 DNF on the first lap. I predicted 2. First lap isn't over yet, though.
We almost had to, in all honesty. Boneless Cigar almost completely lost control.
Dup and Brogan
still leading this race as Julian is
That's
on
the
the back
second
of
DNF.
Vexation.
Dup, just lovely slipstream past Brogan, moved up to P11, and Brogan has come in the pits. And have I got this perfectly predicted? Is Mariner maybe going to come in as well and give me the whole trilogy? Oh, nearly. So I was close. I was so close.
You did say 2 DNFs, 3 pit stops.
3 pit stops, yeah.
But Marinello Baby didn't get any damage, so he has no reason to pit. Yeah, I mean, yes, he was seriously slow, but he did a good job enough to keep himself out of trouble, dodge the cars that were on the track. And so we're seeing how it stands right now. The biggest winner so far is Dwip, who's done 4 places gained, and Marinello Baby's down there in third with 3 places gained, as well as Yonti was getting 3 places. And the biggest loser is Beaker, as it stands, with 3 places lost.
The results are slightly skewed as well, because obviously we lost the driver before we started. So everyone's automatically up 1. So those, like Beaker, he's down 3, he's actually down 4, realistically, but...
all that does is make it look even better then for Dwip, who's now would have gained 5 places. Oh no.
No, he's gained 3 places.
3, yeah. Made it look worse, my apologies. Oh, that was wing damage there on Julian. I'm pretty sure I just saw a little bit of wing from Julian, who doesn't have the downforce now. That right hand side is, yep, it is. It's definitely injured. So Julian runs a bit deep. I don't know how he ran so deep, because he shouldn't really have needed to get to that wall. But I don't know, he just
too much curb.
And that was it.
Yonti and Brownlee trying to go round the outside of turn 20. He's alongside him, and I think this is a done deal. Comes back across Brownlee, slipping back into turn 20. Francinger looking down the inside into turn 1. He's not, but he might lose place out to Hazard as well. DRS has been enabled, is available from the word go, effectively. DRS detection point is just before turn 2, and so they're going to have it immediately. We might see some more action in this midfield. Brownlee is not going to close up to Yonti. Yonti's just flying away. There goes my prediction, working its way forwards.
Oh, Dan's coming for a lunge. Oh, that was a big attempt there from Dan. He almost ended up going into the side of Hazard. That would have been disaster if he'd have actually got a little bit further ahead. He's lucky to have slowed it down just enough, but it's still this battle for P6 on the table right now. As Prajeko's leading the charge between them, and we have a yellow flag in sector 1, which can only be Brogan. Here it is, turn 1. He's lost. Oh, he's left. He's straight up not happy. Yeah, that is a very much frustration quit right there. So no wing on that car, and no driver now.
No, Overspeed's dropped back as one as well from Mascari. Just wondering if these softs are starting to fall away a little bit, maybe. Mascari started to pull away quite quickly. I've not done any runnings on the soft tyres. Have you on race pace?
Yeah. So the softs are good, but like I say, they disintegrate so quickly. So in terms of raw pace, they will be good, but they are not the tyre to really be on. So that's why you'll see soon enough, you'll see the likes of Overspeed, Vexation, and Duxie B just slowly lose time to the drivers that are behind them on the mediums. The mediums are incredibly quick. It's almost to a point where it's worthwhile doing a two-stop going from softs, mediums, mediums. That's how quick the mediums actually are on this track. But you're going to lose a lot of time in the pit lane. That pit... Oh, there's more wing there. Is that Julian again?
He hasn't been in to replace
or was
it,
that
so...
Vexation? Someone has a serious amount of wing blown off. It's not any of the top two. I know that Beaker's got really broken right-hand side end plate again. So he came into the pits and had to repair the wing and then came out again, and then there was contact between him and Brogan.
Frashoko's missing front left.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's an old one or that's been there a while. The problem is, it's so easy just to lose those end plates on the track like this. You just nudge the wall and it goes bye-bye. And he's got to try and close up into Overspeed. Overspeed will be coming in probably in the next 2 or 3 laps. Depends. If he starts falling off the back of the Scary, then he'll throw it in, but he's not going to be pressured by Fragioka for a while. His front lot are all quite tightly bound.
I was just about to say the exact same thing. The top 4 drivers are all so close together. The person to watch out for through this section here is Julian. Watch when he gets on the brake in here. He brakes really hard, which is obviously what he meant to do, but then he cuts that curb so much, and that's what's caused him to have the wing damage earlier. He hit it pretty hard, and he bounced over towards the right-hand side. Damaged his end plate, and now he's right on the back of Vexation here. Remember, DRS is a factor. Duxie B doesn't have it. Vexation's close enough to do the attack anyway. It's now a question of how hard is Julian going to slipstream from both of these cars. Cascari's on the back of this as well. Yeah. This could very easily turn into Duxie B losing 3 places if this goes south.
I don't think he's going to lose 3. Well, he's going to lose a lot more now because he's in the pits. But Julian might make a move on Vexation here. Oh, he could have had that down the inside. He got on the brakes quite early to slow himself down to prevent himself going back into the back of that Renault. He's going to get another shot here, though. Obviously, 2 DRS zones, 2 detection points on this track. So sometimes you don't want to make the move too early, because you'll get taken back. He's trying to go round the outside of turn 3. Looking for the switch back now. He's got a good drive off the corner. Vexation is going to be compromised through this corner, and that's how compromised he is. Julian gets a beautiful drive off the corner. Up he goes into P1. Vexation hasn't got an answer for him. So Scary got an answer back at Vexation. And that was a beautiful overtake by Julian. He just applied pressure to Vexation, made him make the mistake. He just went, yoink, I'll have that. Thank you very much.
And it was such a minor mistake as well. It wasn't like it was the biggest mistake he could have seen where he ran up into the wall or anything. No, it wasn't even slightly like that. He just basically just turned a little bit too little. Got a bit of a wobble as well, and that was it. Julian just capitalised on it, punished him for that slight mistake, and that's why you see him lose a place. And considering how close they were, it's very surprising it wasn't 2 places.
Well, he said it was only a minor mistake, and that's how he got away with it. He just carried a little bit too much speed into the corner, and obviously couldn't turn in time. Allowed Julian just to come through. Scari's coming through already on Vexation. They go side by side through ping pong. This could end in tears or glory. And it is going to be glory.
Wow,
beautiful.
Well played to Haskari for making that overtake happen right there. But the issue he's got is he doesn't have DRS. It's about to be a reverse payment from Vexation.
In the pits.
Although he's going into the pits. He must have wing damage done, I don't. Or he's not happy on the softs, which I think is probably more the case. We saw Duxie B in, we've seen Overspeed and Vexation in. This is what I'm saying. These tyres will fall apart so quickly. Normally when we see soft compound runners, we see them go 6-7 laps before we even go near the pits.
Druslav must have front wing damage. He's coming after 5 laps of hards. That can only be front wing damage. I'm just staying on board with him. Yeah, that's a new nose there for Druslav. And he's going to join the battle for the front wing changes, I think. It's the only way we can describe those battles at the back.
Yeah. Alright, well, Van der Ven is right on the back of Hazard, Captain Consistency, who, for the most part, in recent weeks, we've been seeing him really push pretty hard on Hazard.
Or lag pretty hard
Dan,
as well.
who's right here, as Hazard?
Lagged.
What happened to Hazard? Oh,
he
yeah, he's having a lot of issues.
Big
look at him
issues.
jumping around. He's having a lot of problems here. He's going to lose a lot of places if this continues.
Disconnect's coming in.
I think what's happened is because he's the host of the session, I think
Yeah.
we've already had a couple of levers. I think he's having the FPS glitch.
It looks that way. He's going so slow out of these corners. I think we're about to see Hazard left the session.
Well, he needs to. The fix to it is leave and rejoin and then quickly take control of your car again. He will lose a lot of time for it, but the longer he carries this out, the worse it's going to get for him. It's not going to fix itself. He has to leave and rejoin in order for it to be fixed. Well,
Yeah,
here we are with Yonti
yeah.
with on the back of Fragioko now. DRS wing wide open. Slipstream is going to be huge for him here. Look how much time he's gaining on him here. Fragioko's on the softer tyre, remember. He's on the mediums, whereas Yonti is on the hards. He's just had the fastest lap on those hards as well, and he is really starting to get into his element.
Yonti is smashing it. I might have to change my prediction. I think Yonti might actually get the win here today. He is absolutely flying on these hard tyres. And the softs have nothing to say. Beaker's retired as well. Bad news bears for Beaker once again. We're about 40 seconds away from seeing where he crashed because Broken's so slow.
Well,
yeah.
Sector 2, which tells me Castle. Knowing the fact that he had wing damage on the right side, I believe it was, he's going to end up losing it in Castle pretty easily because the left-hander is where you need all of... Oh, Fragioko, big mistake. No damage, but just lost so much time there. It's already jumped up to 8/10 now, the gap between him and Yonti. I mean, we know that Yonti is flying, but you expect it to be a lot better than that.
Hazard must have had something to do with those, with they swapped positions. I don't know if there's contact or just a mistake from Hazard, but he's out of the race. Beaker was at Castle, yes.
I know Hazard just straight up retired.
Did he? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's an interesting thing to do. There is a fix for the AI glitch. Not AI
I don't
glitch,
think he
but
knows it though.
well, I would have thought he did, but obviously not.
No. Well, it is something that Codemasters definitely need to take a look at pretty urgently because it's quite... Oh, Julian. I've just seen another end plate go missing off of that Mercedes vehicle there, so Julian is now going to be in a lot of trouble when it comes to ping and
He's
pong.
in the
There
pits.
he is, into the pits. He knows I can't keep going like this, and he gets a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Yonti's going to win this race.
Yeah. I don't think even Ascari can keep Yonti behind for too long. 1.6, sorry, is the gap between Ascari and Yonti. We are 4 drivers down, plus 1 if you want to include Dan. Pole sitter Dan, who was unable to get back in time. And I can see the ERS Tier 1 chat, and Hazard is typing. This could be a fun one to read.
Yeah, I think we already know what it's going to be. It's going to be frustration of the game, frustration of the developers, and frustration of the fact he just couldn't get his game to stop dropping so many FPS. But, you know, ultimately it is caused by the drivers leaving. That is what it is. You know, it's not always guaranteed that that's going to be the case, but it's one of the main reasons that their instruction was there to not leave the game. So there might be a follow reprimand for it, but Overspeed is chasing Julian.
Some leagues toe a very hard line on that, and especially now, that is a line that needs to be towed very, very hard. If it's causing the race, the lobby host to drop out, then it needs to be something that is put down and said, you leave the session, you're not coming back in for the next race, or something daft like that, just to prevent it from happening. Overspeed is overdriving that back end, stepping out on him hard as he goes through Castle. Bit of dirty air caused by Julian. Yes, well, there's a simple fix for this. That laggy thing is, there's 2 fixes really, isn't there? There's leave and rejoin, or make a commentator be the host of the lobby, and we don't have that issue because we're not driving.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Well,
we don't have the issue as a driver, but we do still have the FPS visual issues. So you can see it where it just...
I've never seen that.
Yeah, I've had that. I've had that once.
Oh,
it was in WCI once. That roasted us pretty hard. But, I mean, just looking back to this race, Baku is doing Baku things. I mean, we lost 3 drivers through natural causes, 4 if you include Brogan, who just made mistakes. Obviously, we lost a driver due to a game... Well, 2 drivers, sorry, due to a game bug. But overall, it's still looking pretty hot on the table. Yes, cars are a little bit spread out, but it's in around about 5 or 6 laps where we'll see those that are on the mediums. They'll have already changed to the hards by this point, maybe even stretching to the 5 or 6 laps time. Those on the hards will be prepping themselves to come off the hards, go onto the mediums, and two, 3 more laps after that. And that's when you'll see them on the mediums just absolutely gun it. But the person to watch is Yonti. He started this race on the hard compound tyres. And we look at his position changes again, he's gained 9 places, 8 if you take Dan out of the equation. Yonti is absolutely flying, and when he gets on the mediums, I don't think anyone can stop him.
No, he actually was kind of gifted this, wasn't he? He started, his grid position was P11, and because Dan was unable to get back in, he moved up 1 space, and it is a big difference, really. If you're going to start on the hards, and he started...
Hold that thought as Julian Vexation are scrapping through mini ping pong, and somehow Julian has made a big mistake there. Same place as last time. He lost the right end plate. He needs to get that under control.
Yeah, I think this is Julian just smashing his race win up. That's the only thing he can be doing. He's going to come through ping pong. He's done it nice and clean. I think he's going to have to 2-stop this now, isn't he?
He hasn't really got a choice now.
Yeah, but if he can push it for a little longer, he might be able to get back onto the mediums. He's not going to win the race now, but at least he can give it a good fight and get some nice haul of points towards the end. But he's not going to be happy in that Mercedes front wing damage once again. And look, if he hadn't already lost it on that corner, he would have lost it on that corner. He's hitting the wall so often. He needs... I don't know if he's just not practiced as much as he should have done. And that's what's causing him these issues. Because, as I was saying on Hot Lap, you don't want to hit these curbs too hard. They will just bounce you. And Julian's hitting all the curbs and a little bit too hard at times. The one you can skip is turn 7 because it's just pretty much flat, or here. But then that right hand side, don't want to get too much on that because again it bounces you. He just needs a little bit more time practicing this circuit. Get working out on the best lines through the corners and get off half those curbs.
Yeah, I mean, Vexation, he made that look so close there. But yeah, Castle is somewhere you just can't afford to have any sort of lock up of the brakes or have a little bit of understeer. It'll just kill you. It won't even be so gentle about it. It'll just absolutely destroy you. And I'm looking to see how much longer. That's going to fair bit of conquer there from Vexation. Duxton lost a lot of time there.
Just lost
he's
the
actually
back
about
end.
to lose a place to Vexation as well. I think he's actually got a fair bit of wing damage.
Well, it was interesting. The way he drove off turn 15 looked like he just lost the rear end under acceleration, and Julian just drifted past. But also, you can look at it, is he just pulled over to the side of the road to let Julian past, which I don't think he would have done. And now he's going to lose place to Vexation with simple ease. So the medium tyres are starting to come into the pit lane. Julian, Fred Joker's in. Dan Verdan is in. And they're both going on to the hards. No surprise there. Huskari's still the race leader.
Yeah, I mean, Huskari's also under a lot of pressure. Like you were saying earlier, the mediums are starting to come into the pits, but we are starting to see a lot of opportunities bringing up to the table for these hards now. Duxby is still behind Vexation, but he also has a lot of front wing intact as it stands. He only takes one slight mistake from these two in front of him, who have got wing damage, having to lose that slight position, and then you're done for. There's nothing else you can gain from that. So Duxby needs to be mindful of the fact that he has got 100% wing, and that the two in front don't have that. He won't necessarily know that from just speaking to his Jeff. If his Jeff doesn't reply, or if he doesn't ask him, he's not going to know. But he's looking very delicate through Castle.
Yeah, I think Julian's going to be really careful through these fast corners, and he's actually just pulled away massively from Vexation. Vexation was so slow through Castle, and Julian has just pulled it straight out of the DRS zone, straight into Duop's, just outside Duop's DRS. Vexation's looking a little bit scrappy at times, as Huskari has finally pitted. Is Brownie coming as well? Yes, it is that time. Yonti's new race leader.
Yeah, and I think he'll probably stay like that, providing that this stint, the remaining stint that he's got on the hards, is pretty comfortable. It doesn't need to be the fastest ever, but it needs to be pretty good overall. Here comes Duxby around the outside of Vexation in towards turn 1, manages to get around him by the time he gets to the braking zone. So it's a nice simple overtake. Vexation will have an opportunity to come back at him, but Brownie's actually come out right at the back of this battle, and this is Brownie and Vexation went side by side for a minute there through turn 2. Brownie is slipstreaming him like crazy all the way down here. He does have DRS, but so does Vexation to defend with, so there's not going to be a change of positions just here. But even just behind these guys, Overspeed is actually creeping into this.
Yeah, I keep my eyes up front. Duke just sliding through turn 4 there. Julian battling all over the rear end of him. Had a little coming together at turn 3. But Duke is sliding that car all over the place, and Julian's going to try and take advantage of it. He's having a little look, or is he just trying to get some clean air? Because he's in Mo 0, he's not going to be pushing too hard to make an overtake at this point. But this is where it can really cost you. If the guy in front of you clips the wall too hard, you can just send that car straight into your face and cause a little... Especially when you've got Duke in 3rd, down to Fragioco in 9th. The biggest gap there is 0.7 of a second. One mistake from any of these guys could spell disaster for everyone else. Especially if they don't go some time.
Oh, it's so nerve-wracking right now because you can see Julian everywhere. He's just scanning the situation continuously, looking for a way through to get past Duke, because he knows that in that area of the track, if you can get past, you will benefit from the fact of how hard it is to overtake through all. So now he's not able to do that. He's purely going to have to go for this overtake here. He actually isn't trying to go for the overtake. He knows he'll get it because of DRS, but what he doesn't realize is that Duxby is right here on the back of him. There's now going to be a side-by-side situation. Duxby is coming around the outside, but he's not going to get it. Julian stays in P3, and there's a big mistake from Dwip. Here comes Vexation. Here comes Brownie, looking for an opportunity as well. Going to go down the inside of turn 2. He might be able to get the braking zone here. Just gets on the curb enough. Dwip loses another place, and he's already under attack from Overspeed.
I think he's about to lose Overspeed's place as well, and Julian might hold off Duxy B here. Overspeed is past Europe. Europe has just gone from 3rd to 8th in 4 corners.
Make that 9th, as Fragioco's even just got past him as well, and that was in the braking zone for turn 3.
Has he picked up some damage?
I don't think he has. He just...
Yeah, he's got front right, yeah.
Yeah, front
But
right.
that might have been there for a while, and it's not working for him. He's now in the pit window. The green light is on. He's having to do fuel saving as well. That's probably not helping him. And that's probably kind of the explanation of why he's just lost all those places. The oldest tyres of everyone battling at that point, and it's just shown he just misses the wall.
It's so insane to think in 3 corners he went from being on the podium to almost out of the points. That's how close it is right now between these drivers. Julian is the one who's furthest ahead as it stands with 9/10 ahead of Vexation, but he's still going to be in DRS range nonetheless. Vexation actually is closing up on Duxy B. I don't know how Duxy B managed to get past him.
Yonti is in half the race distance, and he's in. So he's thinking good on those medium tyres.
Yeah, and he's got a trusty race engineer alongside him that will let him know very clearly how easy he's going to find it on these mediums. We know the mediums are rapid. He's not going to come out in P1. He's actually lost a fair bit of time to the race.
Julian? He's definitely ahead of Julian. He's already out of the pits and up to speed.
Yeah. No further overtakes further down though. Dwip's in the pits now, 13 laps in on those hards, decided it's time to switch off and will almost likely go for the medium compound. He's also going to get a fresh wing, I imagine. If you're in his shoes, you're definitely going to need it.
The one thing I'm quite surprised to see is Julian's ERS. He's in the mid-60s. Duxby behind him is at 15%. Julian is managing like a pro, as there's a yellow in Sector 1. Who is that? I'm not sure. Might have been Jurislav or Dan Van.
Well, does anybody have damage? I can't see. No, everything's good on Dan's car. Fragioco is also good.
Les Stewart made a mistake on his way out of the pits.
Well, he's got full wing as well. It might have been just like a slow exit maybe, or whatever, but yeah,
just
further upfield, Vexation is breathing down the neck of Duxy B. Duxy B's lost a lot of time to Julian. I think, like you said, it's just down to ERS management. One thing I was spotting was Duxy B, he would go for mode 4 down the home straight, but he wouldn't charge you very well in the rest of the track. The sort of strategy I like to play when it comes to this track is simply go mode 4 down the back straight, the whole home straight, just mode 4 all the way. As soon as you get past this corner here where Vexation is, flick it up to mode 4 immediately and just start getting onto the back of these guys like he's just done here. So you'll see now just what I'm talking about. You stay in the slipstream with the guy in front of you. You're already closing in massively because of the fact of how early you got into gear 6. With slipstream being so strong and DRS being so easily available and such a long run down the entire run, it allows you to just shoot off like a bullet. He's already passed him.
Oh,
Brownie! Going
Brownie!
for a huge lunge down the inside of turn 1, and somehow he's made it work. Duxie B was literally a sitting duck there.
I don't think he even saw him coming. I was on board with Duxie B. I could see in Duxie B's mirrors a car suddenly pull out. I was like, oh dear, this could not end bad or end well. And Brownie is flying. He's going for Vexation as well. Down the middle straight. Going to go round the outside. He's made it. He's squeezed up against the wall, but he's through. Duxie B is going to come back at Vexation. Brownie has the place. Is Vexation going to lose to Duxie B? No, he's not. Brownie just took advantage of that and says, thank you very much. I will take 4th place.
Yeah, and it's actually brought Overspeed into this battle as well. Look, he's just literally sitting on the back of it, waiting for someone to make a mistake and then just capitalize on it. He knows he doesn't actually have to push here. He can just sit on the 0 ERS and just utilize that all the way through. And everyone else should be doing a similar sort of thing anyway, because the pace you will gain the most is on the home straight, and even on the run from turn 2 to turn 3. So if you can conserve enough and do a similar sort of style as what Julian's been doing, then it works out massively. Whereas Julian, actually what he's been doing is, when he gets into DRS range of someone, just sitting in 0. He's not really doing anything more, but we need to keep an eye out on the front runners as Yonti is closing up very swiftly onto the back of Skari. I don't think he got DRS, or did he? Oh, there's the, yeah, he has, he's got it.
Yeah.
But he's not going to be able to attack him yet, but he might close it up enough so he can attack in the run up to turn 3.
ERS though, look at that. Yonti's burnt so much. He's gone for a similar start to Duxie B. And that's just shifting it into mode 2s and 3s on little straights. As I saw from Duxie B, he was going from Castle to turn 15. He shifted into mode 3, and he just really struggled to keep up any percentage. Ascari's on 56%, Yonti's on 24%. So
yeah,
a big difference.
But if he sits in mode 0 throughout, he's got the benefit of having softer tyres, which he can really fully utilise. He has the benefit of being able to deploy a lot of fuel, and he's also within the 3 seconds gap between, 3 tenths gap between him and Ascari. He doesn't actually have to push on the ERS at all. He can just sit in mode 0 throughout the entirety and wait for that home straight, and then deploy. He only needs to deploy it once and just survive right up to turn 3. If he survives right up to turn 3, that position is his, and he will not lose it for the rest of the race.
Well, we'll see how he does now. Is he going to shift up here to just to hold on? And you see, look, he shifts out to mode 4 there. Ascari's still in mode 0 and just blocks him off. He can't do anything about it. He's shifted down back down to 0 as Yonti. As a yellow in sector 2.
Big crash! Big crash! Vexation lost it into Castle, and that caught Overspeed and Duxie B. Overspeed has lost that left side of that wing quite drastically. He's even lost one of the fins to go with it. We need to go back up to the front runners though, as we are back here battling again on the home straight. Yonti has got the pace this time round. He's in mode 4 already, in the same as I was saying earlier. He's definitely going to be getting DRS here, and I think we are going to be seeing an overtake. It might go all the way up to turn 1. Ascari is going to have to defend like a champion.
Well, I was going to say, I don't think he can do much defending. A little bit of nudging going on. Ascari's had to take evasive action, goes wide on the corner. Yonti is through with a little bit of nudging, but he is through. Ascari will get DRS, but I don't think this is going to be much.
No.
I'm just looking at Overspeed, and Jerusalem battling Overspeed. Obviously has a bit of front wing damage and is struggling with that car. Duxie B and Fragioka in. I think Overspeed is in as well, looks like it.
Yeah, he has to.
I think Dan wanted to come in as well. Where is he? I think Dan wanted to come in, then realised Fragioka was in and had to back out of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's got damage on the right side, which does not help you for a few corners on this track. But actually, look at Ascari. He's outside of the DRS range now of Yonti already. And like I was saying earlier, he only takes that one slight little boost there from Yonti, and he's away. Now he can just go into conservative mode and just look after his fuel, look after his ERS, protect himself on the home straight, keep outside of the range of Ascari, and there is nothing else that Ascari can do about it. As he's on these hards, he just has to pray that the mediums on Yonti fall apart nearer towards the end, and then Ascari can pounce. Yeah,
Ascari's just going to have to stick there. What are you saying, sorry?
Durislav on Dan, yeah, Durislav and Dan's made a pass in an area I didn't expect him to go for. Turn 6, he just got a good drive out the corner, and now we're back here in the dreaded Castle. We saw a big crash earlier, and it really didn't work out for Overspeed, who actually had a good opportunity to jump up the places, and I think without that, I think we may have actually seen him in my prediction, as I was saying, in P3.
Well, I think that's gone now for him. I think most of the predictions seem to have set sail. Brownie is trying to make gains on Julian. He's in mode 0, but he has DRS to just close up a little bit onto the back end of the Mercedes man. He's going to get another attempt here, though, as we go up to the second DRS zone. On the exit of turn 2, he's definitely got it once again. He's going to shift this one into mode 4. He's going to sit in 0. He goes to mode 1. So he's not really trying to make anything, is he? He's just holding onto the back end of Julian. Knows that he's a little bit too far. He might have been just on the edge of being able to do it on that straight if he'd shifted mode 4 on the home straight. But what he's done is just drained a bit of Julian's ERS, so he can't really come back at him, as Dan has now pitted after wanting to do it last lap. He's finally been able to do it.
Yeah, and you got to ask the question now, should it really have gone onto the mediums or should it have gone onto the softs? Because 8 laps to go, 9 if you include the one that they're on right now, and it is doable on the softs. Yes, they do just turn off like a light switch, like I was saying, but you're in a do or die moment now. You're outside of the points anyway. He's on the back of Vexation by just over a second. So it's not like it's done, his race is over. He can still get some valuable points, but just imagine if he was on the softs, he would be able to catch up to Vexation in no time at all, probably by the end of the lap, and then be on the back of Overspeed again in no time at all, and then, you know, maybe, just maybe, push fast enough to catch up to Duxie B. But those drivers, Fragioco, Duxie B, Overspeed, and Vexation are all, and Dan, are all on brand new mediums. So anything can happen in the coming laps, just as Brownie is on the back of Julian.
Yeah, I think we're on the limit of going on to softs. Maybe another lap or two and it would have been perfect. That's probably why he hasn't quite gone for it. Brownie is going to make an easy move here, I believe, on... Oh, sorry, hiccup. On Julian. And he's going to go try around the outside. Julian on the inside still has it. No, he doesn't. He's just dropping back a little bit. He does have that front wing damage, which is just... Is that going to cost him a podium? I think it might, but... He's got a nice lead over Jurislav. He might just chuck this in the pits this lap if he can't stay with Brownie. Just go, give me a new wing. Oh, he's flying, isn't he?
I thought he was going to go for a send it down there in turn 3, but no, he held back. The other thing to remember, though, is that Julian does have that 5-second stop-go penalty, so if he does decide to pit, he will be behind Jurislav.
It's a long pit
potentially even
stop
behind Fragioco, and you do not want to get stuck behind those three. Jurislav, Fragioco, and Dwip. You know, that could easily end up in tears for Julian. As it stands, P4 is pretty much a guarantee right now, as long as he just carries on driving his race. He just can't afford to make any more mistakes and lose any more wing.
Yeah, it's a long pit stop here. It's about 20 odd seconds, isn't it? Combined with the fact that he's got a 5-second and a new nose cone, it's going to be closer to 30 seconds. So he will come out behind Duke. He's definitely got a bit of space back to Duxby if he wants to go for it. I think, as you say, he's quite safe. Jurislav's probably going to pit himself as well, so he's going to get one extra position from this. It may be or maybe not type situation. He's going to lose 3 places at this precise moment in time, but he'll definitely gain back those, I would say. Durup's on rather old mediums. Fragioco's on freshish.
Oh no,
mediums.
Overspeed! Overspeed! He made a mistake going into Castle, and Vexation gets a taste of his own medicine. That was just disaster. So Overspeed locked up going in towards the left-hander, went over towards the wall on the right side, lost his entire front wing. As you can see, it's completely dead and gone. He's locking up even more. Oh, that's a big clout into the wall there. And Vexation just got caught up in there. That's the Dan managing to just slip on by. Dan's been gifted those 2 places. He's going to be happy with that. Jurislav's coming to the pits as well, so it's going to be another position gain for Dan. It's exactly what it needs. He will be able to push pretty hard, although Jurislav should probably go into the, he will go into the softs, and he has. So it could easily change for Jurislav if he can get out quick enough. Where is Dan? He's a bit too far back. So Jurislav might actually get out ahead of Dan.
He's well ahead.
And hold on to PA.
He's well ahead. Jurislav's just gone through turn 2.
Yeah, 14 seconds still ahead. So, yeah, he's very cozy in PA. And he's on the softs as well. With only 3.6 seconds is the gap between him and Duxie B, which means he only has to actually do half a second per lap for the remainder of these laps, which is very, very easy to do. And you can already see him lined up there. And Julian's left the session. That might be a game crash. That might be issues. Might have even just left the session himself. I highly doubt it. But he is P4. He's going to need to get back in as soon as possible.
He's going to be careful because if he leaves the session, AI takes control. AI may decide to pit.
Especially with the fact that he's got wing damage. 12 laps in on these hards, it might, just might, chuck him in.
I'm on board with him at the moment. Let's see. Seems to be haggling to the right hand side, so he's not coming in just yet. The only thing now advantage for Julian is that the AI is very unlikely to crash. But he's just lost seconds. It's not a case of he lost half a second, he's just lost about 3 seconds on that one sort of straight. And he's going to lose it more. I think that could be Julian going quite far backwards.
Well, he's brought this upon himself. He's actually just left again. Through choice. He chose to leave. He's just messaged me saying that he wasn't enjoying the race in less colourful terms. O-Speed retired from the race as well. That's more. Oh, there it is again in Castle. Big mistake there from Mascari. He gets caught out massively from that. He's going to lose a lot of time. He was only about a second and a bit, 2 seconds off of Yonti, and now he's 7 seconds behind. That's only going to grow as well because Yonti was not slow. He had 7.3. So big mistake there from Mascari. Brownie's just through, no problem.
Well, he had to slow down quite a lot as well. And anyone that's not going to really slow down is going to be Julian.
Yeah, that's true. Alright, okay, so as it stands, we've got 5 laps remaining. Yonti is your P1 right now with Mascari, who just had a little bit of a scare there, mild heart attack. Definitely going to have brown stains in those boxes after this one, but P2 is where he stays. Brownie in 3rd, Julian takes 4th for now. That might change as Fragioko is on the charge. He's got 10.3 seconds to really close up with only 4 laps to do it in. I mean, the thing to remember though is that Julian is an AI, so it won't really matter too much. Drip is in P6, but does have a 3-second time penalty, although that won't really be a problem as Duxie B is 11.6 seconds behind in 7th place. Jurislav on those brand spanking new softs is already closing that gap onto Duxie B, and I think it's going to be a matter of time before you see him absolutely bullet up towards the back of him. Dan there in P9 on those fresh mediums is 14 seconds behind, so he's not really going to gain anything more than what he's got right now, unless there's more DNFs. We've seen it. As the tyres start to fall apart, it's very easy to just chuck it in the bin.
Yeah, it's not over yet, that's for sure. We do only really have 10 runners, 9 if you exclude Julian, so at the moment everyone's going to get points. They're going to complete 90% of the race in this instance, most likely. So they will get what they need. Well, they obviously need more, but Jerusalem have 1.4 seconds off the back of Duxie B now. 1.3, the gap is going to come down. It's not going to come down enough for him to get DRS here, but we'll come up to the castle section. That technical section, I reckon he'll gain a lot of time through there because you just have so much more grip, so much more confidence in that car that you can just go quicker. Simple as. No two ways about it.
No, absolutely. Jurislav is just teetering on the limit. There he is now within it, but it's not yet in an area where there is DRS. So he's just going to have to try and manage that ERS level, just keep himself on the back of Duxie B, using the fact that Duxie B is going to be slower coming out of the corners. He can easily catch up to the back of him even more so. That way, when it comes to the final straight, he should be able to just bullet up to the back of him and past him using slipstream and DRS. And here he is going for it. Julian now losing that place to Fragioko. So he's going to fall down to P5, and eventually we'll lose it more and more, which is going to be for the benefit of everybody. We might be seeing Dwip manage to secure a P5 if he can carry on with the pace. Good, but here is Jurislav. This is the area of the track that matters to him the most on this lap. He needs to make sure the exit of the next corner here is perfect if he wants to get Duxie B very smoothly and before yeah, he's done it. There he is. So now, mode 4 already engaged. Definitely listening to what I was saying earlier. Slowly bringing himself up to the back of Duxie B, and this is where you're going to see it just suddenly rain in as he's going to be closing up very swiftly. DRS wing is going to be wide open. 6/10 is the gap right now. Let's watch it just fall apart.
Well, it's just not close enough. Not this time. He's obviously going to have another straight in a moment. Duop has caught out to the back end of Julian, so he'll be going through quite easily in a moment. I think Julian might end up behind these guys. Maybe even behind Dan Verdan. But we'll see. We're on 23 of 26, so only a few laps to go. I don't think Julian's going to be saved much on the point front. And Jurislav just
I think he's going to lose. all the positions in
Well,
this
he might
race.
just get straight up disqualified. Well, not disqualified, but he disconnected, so he doesn't really get points. We'll see. That's not for us to call. That's for the stewards to call. Marinabi comes in for another pit stop. Let's have a look at that. Actually, I want to look at the stops. So 3 stops for some. And Marinabi, Brogan, Overspeed all having 3 stops so far. I wonder if
Look
we'll see
at
a 4th.
Fragioco, by the way. 2 stops in and he's sat P4. It just shows just how much this race is so chaotic when it comes, this track in particular just causes so many strategies to be chucked out the window, and you have to really think on your feet, react as quickly as possible. Fragioco reacted perfectly. He's up there in P4 and he's actually in a position where he's not really going to gain anything, absolutely not, to anything more than P4, but still, P4 is really good for a points position. And we might see this time round as Jirislav is a lot closer, where Slipstream is going to be a lot better here. And you can see, yeah, look at that. He's already closing in now, excuse me, as he's got the wing wide open. Yeah, very simple, very easy.
He's
I
got
would
it
take
this
this.
time.
Nothing more Duxie B can do. That is as textbook as you can possibly get through that.
And that is no.
Except for that, yeah, that one slight mistake there from Jirislav, and that's Duxie B straight back into it. Duxie B has been gifted an absolute gem right there.
Yeah, and we're on 24-26, so has Jirislav got anything left in these tyres to push Jirislav? One pushing the other. They're going to get Julie, that's for sure. Has Jirislav got a lot left in these tyres to get past Duxie B there? That's the big question. I think he might, but it's going to be touch and go. And we'll see how he does, because obviously he's just made that little mistake down at turn 1. That would have given him a little bit more heat in those tyres that he didn't want. Do you think he's got enough left? I think he does.
I think he's right on the limit. I think this now is where Jirislav is going to start making mistakes. The tyres are about to turn off. So because of how hard he's been running them, he's been really trying to commit to getting the exit out of the corners. You can see that he's been absolutely chucking it through everywhere. And it's not really helped him. He's stuck behind Duxie B. That lockup going in towards turn 1 has not helped his tyres either. Yes, he's now going to be again on the back of him, and he probably will make the overtake again on the home straight. But the situation he's going to be in is he's not going to be able to really commit as much as he would like, given how hard this is going to be. Because realistically, they're still on lap 24, I think. About to move on to lap 25 because they're just so far back.
So they've got 2 to go.
I think he's in trouble.
Well, we'll see. He's not going to be close enough this time unless he goes for a stupid dive. He's got. Oh, is he? I thought he was going for it. He pulled into the right position. He tried to go for the dive, just broke too early.
Yeah.
He's got not a lot of attempts left. And don't forget, you can still overtake if you got a nice drive off the final corners. You can overtake coming across the start-finish line. There's so much DRS to be used. It is still possible. Dan Verdan picks up a 3-second. That's not going to cause too many issues in his hunt after Julian. Julian now down to 8th.
Yeah. Julian obviously does still have that 5-second time penalty, which, as it stands, Dan will still gain that position, albeit barely. Will he? No, he won't.
No.
No, he won't. No, he won't. I was
yet.
thinking the other way around. Dan will not get in that position. He
Well,
will
he
actually
might.
have to really bullet it down it, and he's trying. But the thing to keep an eye out is for Jirislav, who is, like I said, running out of tyre grip on the softs. Next lap, he's going to have to be so delicate through cancel. Because if he makes a slight mistake on the brakes, he's dead. There's no way he'll get through there without that.
Okay, he's got to overtake Duxie on the second of the DRS straights. Because if he doesn't, Duxie will come straight back at him and take the position off him, I reckon. So use this first one to close up.
Yeah. And you
Mate,
can
he's
see
not
how
even
much
gonna
he's
get
struggling.
He's not getting DRS.
Nope. And this is what I was saying. When they go, they go. They go so fast. You will really just lose it. And he's already lost everything in just this area alone. He needs DRS to be able to attack to gain this position from Duxie B. He's not in any sort of position to do that. And that's why you don't go for the softs on this track. It just doesn't work out.
Well, it was on the limit of being acceptable. And I think he's just shown that it wasn't quite there. He's now just got to put it in mode 3s and 4s for the remainder of the lap burn off as much as you can. Try and close up to the back of him and hope he makes a mistake through castle or something, and you can jump on it. But he's just not close enough to even do that. I mean, if Duxby just had a little lock up or a little slide, Juryslav's just nowhere near. He's only just a second off. And I think it's a done situation.
There
Talking
is
of done
only one
situation, sorry.
alternative
Talking of done
where this
situations, Yonti's going to come across the line, take the win. That's how far ahead he is of everyone.
Yeah, I had faith. He delivered. P1 for Yonti, P2 for Ascari, P3 will come into the hands of Brownie. And a few seconds later, by that I mean 15 or so, we're going to see Fragioco come after. But I want to go back to the battle that's going on for Jurislav and Duxby. The only way that Jurislav would have been able to pull this off is if he'd have gone from mode 5 throughout the entirety of this lap. You can see, look at that big time slapper there. The rears are gone. There is no way he's going to be able to manage this now. So that is going to be the end of the Grand Prix. Fragioco will, any second now, there he is, cross the line and come P4. Dwip will come across the line and take P5 in a short while. Duxby will come across and take 6th. Jurislav will take 7th. Dan will take 8th. He's actually managed to get Julian.
He's just lost the Julian.
Yeah, he's just made a big mistake. That was a big, major mistake there. That's caused him to be down a place.
He might still get it through. I don't think he is going to get it through penalties. Julian only had the 5 second. Dan is actually limping home. He has got some front wing damage.
Severe right wing damage. He just locked up into that the downhill left-hander and straight up into the wall. Ended up causing a lot of problems for him. He crosses the line though. Will take P9. Might even gain that 8th place as Julian did leave quite early on in the session. But still, that is it for the Baku Grand Prix. That was very tense, but Yonti pulled off the absolute killer of a strategy. He's very much going to be thanking his race engineer for that one. As you'll see, here is the rundown. So the two finished, well, there's more than 2 finished drivers, but 2 of the finished drivers are actually P1 and P2. Yonti started in 11th place, jumped up to P1. Ascari started 6th, jumped up to P2. Brownie started 9th, jumped 3rd. So they're the top 3 positions right there and then. Fragioco 4th with Dwip 5th. Duxby takes 6th, Jurislav in 7th. Julian, who left earlier on, is finished in 8th. Possibly won't even get those points at all. As Dan crosses the line in 9th. Maranello Baby is in 10th and Brogan is in 11th, but neither of those two were there. Overspeed, Vexation, Hazard, Beaker, Boneless, and Yont the Bahamas are your DNFers of this Grand Prix. So, that is it from us here in the European Racing Series. It's been an absolute pleasure. But yeah, they could have had a 1, 2, 3, 4, except one of them left.
Yeah.
That's it for us here in the European Racing Series. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been an absolute pleasure to commentate for you. I've been Ben Raggan McConnell, and joining me has been Jamie M. Casa-Elder. As always, Jamie, thank you so much for commentating with me. And next week, we're back for the Spanish Grand Prix. But don't go anywhere, because in just a few moments, we're going to be doing some open lobbies.
Tom Ashley.